For decades, Canada and the United States shared one of the closest relationships in the modern world. A shared border, deep trade integration, and common political values made the partnership seem unbreakable. That certainty began to crack during the presidency of Donald Trump. In 2018, the United States imposed tariffs on Canadian steel and aluminum, citing national security concerns. Canada, one of America's closest allies, was suddenly described as a potential threat. The statement shocked Canadian leaders and the public alike. For the first time in generations, Canada realized that even its most trusted partner could act unpredictably. Public remarks questioning trade agreements, pressure to renegotiate NAFTA, and an openly transactional approach to alliances sent a clear signal. Long-standing relationships were no longer guaranteed. Even though the United States remained Canada's most important economic partner, trust had been shaken. Those tensions did not disappear overnight. At the same time, the global economy was changing. Supply chains became fragile, inflation rose, and geopolitical uncertainty increased. Dependent too heavily on one country, no matter how friendly, suddenly looked like a strategic risk. Canada began quietly exploring diversification. China was already part of that equation. By the late 2010s, China had become one of Canada's largest trading partners. Canadian exports, such as agricultural products, minerals, energy resources, and raw materials flowed steadily to Chinese markets. In return, Canada imported manufactured goods, electronics, and industrial components that were now essential to modern economies. For Canada, engaging China was not about ideology or replacing the United States. It was about options. Unlike the unpredictable trade rhetoric coming from Washington during the Trump era, China's approach appeared consistent and long-term. Deals focused on trade, infrastructure, and investment. No public confrontations. No sudden tariff announcements. Just economic engagement. But this relationship came with serious concerns. Canadian officials and security agencies warned about risks tied to cybersecurity, political influence, and economic overdependence. Diplomatic relations between Canada and China have not been smooth, and public trust remains fragile. The decision to expand trade ties is cautious, calculated, and controversial. Still, history shows that nations under pressure rarely make decisions based on comfort. They act based on necessity. The Trump years changed how Canada views its position in the world, when tariffs were imposed, when alliances were questioned, and when public statements undermined decades of cooperation. Canada learned an important lesson. Diversification is not betrayal, it is protection. This does not mean Canada is turning away from the United States. The US remains Canada's closest ally and largest trading partner. But Canada is no longer willing to place all of its economic future in one basket. In a world shifting toward multipolar power, where influence is shared between the United States, China, and other rising economies, middle powers like Canada must balance carefully. Engaging China is not a pivot away from the West. It is a hedge against uncertainty. What we are witnessing is not a dramatic realignment, but a quiet recalibration, a strategy shaped by trade tensions, political unpredictability, and global economic pressure. Canada today walks a narrow path between competing giants, trying to protect its sovereignty, economy, and future. These decisions may seem subtle now, but they will define Canada's role in the decades to come. History is rarely shaped by loud speeches or sudden announcements. It is shaped by moments of tension, hard lessons, and careful choices. And that is why understanding these shifts matters, because history shapes today.